in today's class, we will be learning about files. So how to manage an external file. So this is not concerned with PHP files. So this is concerned with how to manage an external file. That means you can have a text file, you can have a binary file, or you can have an image file, and how to manage the files and its permissions with the help of PHP. For example, you will be asked to write a file in your portal. Say for example, you have nearly 10 to 15 passwords, and you want to protect that password. So there is a high possibility that the database will get cracked by any sort of hackers. So to protect the password, instead of storing in a database, you try to store the password in a file in a form of encrypted manner. Okay. So you want to make that file in a protected fashion. So how to do that? All these things you'll be learning. So how to write a file, how to read a file, how to delete a file from a local server folder. All these things you will be learning today. Okay. So the first thing is how to extract a file from a path. That is the first part here. So you have a very lengthy path. For example, C:\program files, Windows control path. In that you have one file. So how to extract a file exactly from a path? So this is the first thing what you are going to discuss today in file permissions. Okay. So I have a file path here. For example, I'm using a different slash over here, but this is actually this slash is confined for Linux. But when you go for Windows, you have to put a slash in a different fashion from this. So this slash is confined to Linux. Now I have a path called as testweb.home.php. Okay, in this, I want to extract the file name here. You all know that the file name here is called as home.php. But first when you understand from it, how to extract a path from a particular, how to extract a file from a path called as home.php. Now you have to extract it. So first case, I have used a method called as base name. Base name is actually will extract the file name from a path here. Okay, the file name is given as home.php. Okay, suppose I don't want to have a file extension. That means I want to just remove that extension and I want to put it in a database. Then I have to remove that. In that case, I have to specify an extension here. If I specify .php extension in the second case, I will simply get the name instead of .php extension. So first case, I will get home.php. Second case, I will get home here. So I will just demonstrate. So to extract a file name from a path, you have to use a method called as base name. Base name is called as a built-in method which extracts a file from a specific physical path of a system. Okay. Now I will show you. I'll go here. I just make a notepad here. I will have a PHP tag. So in my PHP tag, I give any name. So for example, for the sake of understanding, I give it as path. So as far as Windows is concerned, you have to put a path in double slashes like this. You have to put like this, double slashes. Say for example, I put a path called as Windows, and I put like this temporary. And in that temporary, my file name is actually called as red.php. Okay. So this is a long physical path where two folders are getting involved. The root folder is Windows. Next, I have a temporary subfolder. In that, I have the file called as red.php. Now, I want to get the name of the file called as red.php. So simply I use echo, and the method to use that is called as base name. So base name, and what is the specified path I have given? I have given the path called as $path here. So I use $path. When I use $path, I will be exactly getting the file name called as red.php. So I save this file. I save this file in the root folder called as test.php. So the file which is I'm going to extract is totally different from this. So when I run this, I will get the file called as, you can see here, I'm able to get the file called as red.php. This is the name of the file which I have already given. Okay, so physically this file does not exist, but what we are going to do is we give a path. From that path we are going to extract the file. So even if you have n number of paths like this, even you have your file after 10 folders, it will be able to exactly extract the file name here. The file name is called as red.php here. Now in some cases there is a possibility that I don't want to extract the extension of the file. Okay, so when I use simply dot base name here, it will actually give me the extension of the file. But if I don't want to have an extension, so what I have to use is I use the same name called as base name. Then I just give the name of the path here. And after this, what is the file name extension? It is called as .php. Okay, I don't want this extension. So if you want to remove that extension, please specify the extension here. When I use .php, that red.php will be going off and I will get the name called as red here. Okay, I'll show you. Now you can see here, the first I'm getting red.php, in the second case I'm getting red here. So if you want to extract only the file name, okay, use base name. And if you want to remove the extension, just specify the extension here. It is not only apply for PHP files, it applies for all the files over here. It can be a text file, it can be an image file, or it can be all a binary file also. Okay, so this technique applies for all the files here. Okay, so first we have discussed about how to extract the file name from a specific path. So this is what about base name here. The second one is how to change the group here. So there are, understand one thing, whenever a system is there are different types of users. There will be administrator users, there will be ordinary users, there will be power users. So many users will be there. Okay, but you can create your name. For example, you can have two people who belongs to administrator group, two people who belongs to ordinary group, like that. So a system can have any number of users. Okay, but I want to change the group of the file. So what is meant by group of the file? Any people who belongs to a particular group. If a file is assigned to a particular group and other group cannot access that file. For example, in this case, I am actually assigning the file called as test.txt to a file to a group called as admin group here. Okay, now I will just change the group here. I will show you how to change the group. Listen carefully. So when I say test.txt, that is called as the name of the file. So to which group this file is assigned? That means this file is assigned to admin group. So apart from this, if any other group actually tries to access this file, then obviously he cannot have the permission of it. Just like in our college system, what we can do, an administrator can create users, he can assign permissions to the user, he can give the internet facility. Whereas if you are logging inside a system, okay, you cannot manage the internet. Internet will be given to you. If you want to manage the bandwidth and to what extent the internet has to be provided, that cannot be done. That can be only done by an administrator, though, because you does not belong to a administrator group. So if you along added to an administrator group, then you can also do that. Similarly, I actually assign a file to a particular group called as admin. Now listen here, I will just show you how to do this. Okay, now I just take this out and I just give a change group. Okay, now I have a file called as mct.txt in my folder. Okay, now I just make it as admin folder or admin status. Admin status. Now I change this file to administrators group. Listen carefully. When I try to run this, and if I just view the group facility over here, so what I'm doing, I'm having a file called as mct.txt and sorry, I will just make it as database.txt because that file does not exist. Okay, database.txt. Now this file will be assigned to a group called as administrators group. Okay, now I will show you how it is done. I will run this file. So actually the file does not give you any output, but behind the screens actually it has changed the group over here. Now how to verify the group has been changed here or not? Okay, now I will go to a root folder here. My root folder is IT and I have the folder called as database.txt. Now you just go and click the properties of this. If you go here, security, sharing, yes, file owner, security. Okay. Excuse me. I think it is IT properties. It is not database properties. I will check it. I will show the properties now. Yes, yes, you can see here the owner is actually changed as administrators here. Okay, so I use a change group function over here, and I have changed the value, the owner of this file as administrators here. So this is how we can do it. So assign a text file and just give the name of the group where you want to change. You can change this group such as administrators here. So to verify the number of groups over here, you can have any number of groups here. See, when you go to the security part, you have authenticated users, you have system users, you have administrator users, and you have ordinary users. Okay, so you can change to any number of users here by putting the file to that. Okay, so using change group, you can change this. So this is how you can change the ownership of a file. And so the next one is how to change the mod function. Mod means the rights of the file. Okay, rights means you can read a file, you can write a file, and you can execute a file. Okay, chmod is called as change mode. Change mode. This is all. These are all commands which is specific to an operating system. Okay. Now, in the first case, I have specified the file called as test.txt, and in that, the first parameter will be always 0. So, what is the first parameter? It's common parameter. So, always make it as 0 here. Now, when you just come to the second parameter from the left, second parameter from the left is actually belongs to an owner. Okay, and the third parameter from the left is actually the group of the owner. Okay, so owner also belongs to a certain group. Okay, and the fourth parameter is everybody. That is called as everybody. So I have given some strange numbers here. 60064475570. So you have to understand what does it mean. So as far as a file is concerned, you can do three things. One is read, another is write, and another is called as execute. If you want to read a file, the permission is called as 4. If you want to write a file, your permission is 2. Okay, if you want to execute a file, your permission is 1. Okay, suppose I have given a file over here. I give 644. Okay, what does the permission of the owner have? What does the permission of the owner have? 6. 6 means here 4 belongs to read and 2 belongs to write here. So 4 plus 2, it is 6. And what about the owner group and others? They can only read only. That's why it is given as 644. Okay, suppose I give 222. What does it mean? I give 222. What does it mean?
Owner can write, owner group can write, others also can write.
Others can also read, right? But they cannot read it. Are you able to understand, Muhunda Mayapan? Others can also read it. Okay. Suppose I give 7 to an owner. What does it mean?
Sir, owner can read, write, execute. Sir.
Right, and yes, exactly. He can read, write, as well as execute. I give 5 to owner group. What does it mean?
Owner can read and execute. Sir.
He can read and he can execute. He cannot write. Are you able to understand? So that's what it is called as a specification of this one. So the first is called as a file name, and the second one is called as a file mode here. Okay, so you can change the mode of the file to any category. Okay, any category. Okay. Okay. Now listen carefully. This is how you can change this. The first case, only the owner can read and write. Okay, others cannot do anything. In the second case, owner can read and write, others can only read. In the third case, owner can read, write, and execute. Others can only read and execute. In the fourth case, owner can read, write, execute. Owner group can read only, others cannot do anything. When I mention zero, it is called as others cannot do anything. That is the meaning of it. Okay, and this is called as the specifications of the file. So the first number will be always zero. The second number actually shows the permission of the owner. The third number belongs to the owner's group. And fourth number gives the permission for everyone else. Whoever is operating with the system have the permission to access the file like that. So the value 1 will be given as execute. Value 2 will be written as permissions. And value 4 is called as read permissions here. Okay. Now I will show you. Suppose I write a file called this chmod, change mod. I just give a file called as database.txt, and here if I specify 0, 4, 4, 2. Now what does it mean? 0, 4, 4, 2.
Owner can read, owner group can read, sir. Others can write, sir.
Others can write, exactly. Okay, owner can read, owner group can read, and others can write. Suppose if I do like this 6 here, what does it mean?
Sir, owner can read.
Owner can read.
Owner group can
owner
read.
Group can read and
write.
Right, exactly. Owner group can read and write, and others can only
execute.
Okay, so this is how the change mod permissions here. Okay, so it does not make any effect, but behind the screens, the file permission will be changed with the help of operating system. So language does not have nothing to play with this. Okay, these are all operating systems. So language will use a command to communicate with an operating system and change the status of the file. Okay, suppose there comes a question, how will you identify what is the nature of the file and all these things, how to verify that? Okay, suppose to identify the parameters of the file, I'll show you. To identify the parameters of the file, I go to C:, cd RAM 64 CD www and cd it, and I have the file here. So if you want to know the status of the file, just type attrib database.txt. You can see here archive means the complete permission here. R means it is called as read only. Okay, so these are the natures of the file. So when you want to verify the status of the file, you can simply type attrib and the name of the text file, and you can see what is the parameters of it. It's also totally operating system dependent here. Okay, you can view the status of the file and what is the permissions which has been given to the file like this. Okay, suppose if you want to just change the file as hidden file, say for example, in some cases you want to hide the file from other users. In that case, you can write like this attrib and you give just plus s is called a system file, that means it will be converted to an operating system, and plus h is called as hidden file, and you can give database.txt. Okay, now if I type like this attrib database.txt, you can see here it is called as shr. Okay, so it is already archive, full permissions are given. Now archive is given for owner here. Now listen here, s is called a system file, h is called as hidden file, and r is called as read only file. So when you just try to view it, you cannot view it unless and until you try to give a value called as minus s over here. If you use plus s, then it will be converted as an operating system. Once if you try to change the file, you cannot do it until the system permission is changed here. Suppose if I want to just regain the file, I can use like this minus s minus h, and I can use database.txt. Now if I type the same command here, you can see here only archive and read only exists, s and h is gone. Okay, so this is how you directly do with an operating system, but you can also do with the help of PHP. So PHP directly communicates with the disk operating system, and it does like that. Okay, so this is all about file permissions, how to change the file permission using change mode here. Okay. Next is called as change owner. It is similar to change group, whatever I have done here. So change group means you belong to a particular group where will be set of users over here. But change owner means you can just directly change the give the name of the owner over here. I will show you. Listen here. Instead of change mod, I give change owner, and I give the file called as mct.txt, and I give the name my name as owner. Okay. Now I used to run this file. You all know that there is a file called as mct.txt, and I will change the owner as my name. Okay. So I run this file. This operating system dependent. Okay. Now I go here, I verify where is the file called as MCT here. Yes, it is there. Now I right click it, I give the properties here, and then verify. Go to the details here. You can see here the owner is my name here. Okay, so you can just change the owner like this. But one thing you have to be sure: try to log in as an administrative user. Unless and until you log in as an administrative user and operating with PHP, you cannot change it. So I have logged in as an administrator because administrator have full permissions to access the files. So using the command, then only it is visible. If you are logging as an ordinary user and try to change the file, it won't change. Actually, here it will stand as it is. Okay, so now you can see that the owner has been changed as Gopalan, but previously it was acting as administrator here. Okay, now this is called as how to change the files, how to change the permissions of the files, how to change the group, all these things. Okay, so the important thing here is how to read a file in PHP. How to read a file in PHP. So to read a file, first you have to open a file. Okay, fopen is called as file open here. File open, and you all know that there are three kinds of modes: read mode, write mode, and append mode. R is called as read mode, W is called as write mode, A is called as append mode. But the problem here is whenever you try to open a file in read mode, if a file does not exist, it will throw you an error. Okay. And suppose if you try to open in write mode, if the file does not exist, what will happen? The file will get created. And if you try to open a file in append mode, if the file does not exist, it will be created, but the existing contents will be preserved. But see here, I want to update the contents. Let us assume that I have mct.txt and this already have certain contents inside that. Now I want to update the contents inside this file. Okay, I want to add new contents, whereas existing contents should be preserved. So which mode I have to open this file? The question is thrown to an open forum. I have a file called as mct.txt. I want to update the contents inside the file, whereas existing contents which also should be exist. It should be preserved. So what mode I have to use here?
Append mode, sir.
Append mode, exactly. You have to use append mode over here. Okay. Now I'll tell you how to read a file here. Okay. I will show you. Okay. Listen here. In MCT, I have welcome to PHP programming, and this is batch 1 of IT department. So I added some contents over here. Let us see that whether it is getting displayed in the browser window or not. So I want to access the file called as mct.php. Okay, mct.txt. Okay, I will just go here. I want to open a file first. Okay, just create a file handle. So you can give any name for file handle. So I give F here. F is called as file handle, and then to open a file, I use fopen, and the name of the file is called as mct.txt. Okay, open the file. So now I want to read the file. I don't want to write the file. I want to read the file. So open the file in read mode. Okay. So now all this happens. Okay, if the file exists, it won't result in any error. Now the file exists, no, obviously it won't result in any error. Now I use echo. Okay, I use fread. Fread is called as file read. Now see, the first parameter is called as the file handle. So what is the name of the file handle here? $f is called as file handle. So $f is called as file handle. The next one, you have to give the size of the file. Okay, now how to get the size of the file? So again, there is a function called as file size. I will show you. It is called as file size, and if I give the name of the parameter here, mct.txt. So this will not actually reveal you the contents inside. Okay, the contents will not be revealed here, but the size of the contents will be revealed. So when I say file size.mct.txt, it will give me the size of the file called as mct.txt. Okay, the second parameter should be the file size.txt. File size, you have to get it. So second parameter, you just pass the file size here. Now close this. Okay, so this file read will keep on reading until the end of the file size. Okay, it will read from byte 1 to the byte n bytes. Okay. Now I will try to read this. You can see here. So welcome to PHP file programming, and this is batch 1 of IT department. So whatever I have written inside the text file, it is becoming visible to me in the browser window. So this is how to read a file how to read a text file in PHP. So any file can be read. Now I am reading a text file. That's all. Okay. And now if you want to make a formatted output, echo, and we can use some tag called as h2 tag here. H2 tag, and you close this tag so that you will have a content in bigger size. I write this, you can see here. So this actually makes a better clarity here. Okay, so what you know so far is how to extract a file name from a path, how to change the ownership of the file. That means you can change the group as well as you can change the ownership of the file. Okay, how to change the permissions of the file, whether you want to read the file, write the file, or executing the file, that can be done with the help of chmod function, chmod. Okay, and you know how to read from a file, all these things, okay, using file permissions. Okay, now the next one is this is called as clearstatcache. So you all know that this much familiar topic called as cache. When you are using your browser first time, if you want to load a web page, so that will get stored in your cache, and the second time when you type, immediately it won't take much time because it will just search in the cache, and if it is found, immediately it will be loaded to the client side window. Okay, so a cache is called as a temporary storage memory where a browser maintains, or your RAM maintains. We can say in terms of hardware, we can say it is RAM, and in terms of software, you can say your browser also reserves certain memory in RAM, and that content will be stored here. So this is called as cache. Cache is called as volatile memory. So when you switch off your system, automatically cache will be erased. Okay, so cache is used to store the previous content, whatever you have access to that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I will clear a cache and I will verify whether it is getting updated in the file or not. So PHP caches for some functions and gives better performance. Unless if you clear the cache, your function will be performed, your operations of your system will be performed better. Okay. Sometimes you may be finding that your system is becoming very slow to load an operating system, or you to load any sort of activities. So that's because of your cache will get dumped over there. So if you dump it, if dumped memory is there, then automatically it will pull down the performance of a system. So in that case, you have to clear the cache. But here, I'm going to programmatically clear the cache. Okay. So the methods which is used to clear the cache is called as clear static cache here. Clearstatcache. So that is the method which is used to clear the cache. Okay. Now I have a file size. Listen here. You know that file size will give me the file size of the file called as test.txt. Okay, now you open the file in append mode. Append A plus mode means you can read as well as write inside the file. Okay, now I use truncate. Okay, truncate file, comma 100. That means 100 spaces will be reserved for me for the corresponding file called as test.txt. Okay, first parameter is the name of the file handle. The next parameter is called as the number of spaces which is reserved for the file. I close this file, and after that I clear the cache over here. So when you stay here, you will have two types of output. The first output will have file size test.txt will be having something, and second time you will have the file size called as 100 here, because 100 space is reserved over here. Now I will show you how to do this. Listen carefully. So I open a file. Here I use echo file size. File size I give mct.txt. So you have to give me the file size here, and I don't want to read the file, so forget about it. Now I just close the file. So fclose is used to close the file. So how to close the file? They need not mention the name of the file, simply mention the file handle here, $F. Okay. And before closing the file, use ftruncate to reserve the space. Truncate. Okay. Now I use a file handle called as $F, and then I reserved a space called as 50 bytes here. Okay. Now listen carefully. First I printed echo file size here. After truncating it, I use clear cache. So clear stat cache. So now it clears the buffer size, and then now I print echo file size. File size is mct.txt. Okay. So I'll give some space here so that echo br tag. Okay. I'll try to run this. Now the second space should be 50 here. Okay. Now see here, clear cache. I think close the file. Truncate. Okay. So it clears the buffer, and it actually throws me on a status of it. So this is how you can clear this cache over here. So use clearstatcache to regain the file size again. Okay, what happens? Initially I have stored the file, I have the file cache here, size is there. Then after that I clear the cache. Once again I just regain the file size, same file size whatever which have been given already. Okay, so this actually improves the performance of the file, just like refreshing your system. Okay. Clear static cache. So the next one is how to copy the content of one file to another file. You all know that MCT is having certain contents from 3 lines to 4 lines, and I want to copy the content of MCT to another file here. Okay, I will show you what MCT file consists of. Now MCT file consists of welcome to PHP file programming, and this is batch 1 of IT department. So this is the file MCT consists of. Now I will create another text file. I will create another text file called as if mechanical. Okay, I don't know whether mechanical is there or not. Yes, mechanical is not there, and yes, that mechanical does not have any content. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a PHP file which copies the file of MCT to mechanical here. So the first file content will be copied to the second file. So copy. So which file I want to copy? MCT has to be copied to mechanical file. So next file is called as mechanical.txt here. Okay. So this is called as first file, MCT file will be copied to mechanical.txt. Listen carefully. So I save this file. When I run this physically, I won't get any output here. Okay, because I am not printing anything in the browser screen. Now I go inside this file, and if you just open this file, you can see here whatever the contents which has been in MCT has been copied to mechanical file. Okay, so this is the way of copying one file to another file. So whatever we have discussed so far is called as how to access the file name from a path using the function called as base name here. You know how to change the owner of the file and group of the file. So change group, change group is used to change the group of the file, and chown is called as change the ownership of the file. Okay, to change the file permissions, you have to use the method called as chmod, that is change mode of the file. Okay, and to clear a cache, you have to use clearstatcache. That will improve the performance of your browser, okay, or your server here. Now the next one is how to read a file from using PHP here. So using fread, you have already read the file using PHP. And the next one is how to copy the contents from one file to other file. So first file will be copying the contents to the second file. So using the copy method, you can do this. So all these are done with the help of operating system. So without the support of operating system, it's not possible. So whenever you want to create a file in a hard disk, your language is just an interface, but behind the screens, your Windows and your operating system is doing all for the language here. Okay. This is what I have to discuss today, and the next one is called as unlink your file. This is very, very important. Sometimes there occurs a situation where you have to delete the file. You will be writing the file and you have to delete a file. So first I will tell you how to write a file, and then I will tell you how to delete a file. So okay, to delete a file, you have used a method called as unlink method. Okay. Possibly this is used for security purposes. So certain times you will be putting all your temporary data in your file, process the data, and after process is over, just delete that file. So that is a need for doing this. Okay. Now I'll tell you how to do this. Just I will create a file. I will create a file called as it.txt. So I use $file is equal to fopen it.txt. Then I want to write the file, so I just open in write mode here. Just use fwrite, the name of the file. File handle is called as file here, and what you want to write. So I want to write skcet IT department is established in year 1998. Okay, so this is the year which we have been established here. Okay, now finally I will close this file fclose. Okay, fclose. So when you open it, you have to close the file. That is called as a good programming practice. So fclose file handle. Use this file handle. Now I will show you how to write it. Now to write this file, you have to use a file handle, and the next one what you are going to write here. So this content will be written inside the file here. Okay. Now the file name is called as it.txt. Even though when I open in write mode, what happens if this file does not exist? Automatically it will be created. Okay. Now I'll run this file. Okay, physically there won't be any output, but when I go here, I will just verify whether IT is created. Yes, IT is created here. It has been created just now. See the time here. It is 3:49. Now it has been created. Now I go here. You can see here the content has been written inside the file. skcet IT department has been written. The content. Now what I have to do here is now I want to delete the file. So how to delete a file? So to delete the file, I have to use a method called as unlink method. Unlink the name of the file here. Okay. So to delete the file, which file I want to delete? I want to delete it.txt. So I use it.txt. here. Okay. So this file is already created. This file has been returned already. Now I want to delete this file. Actually, this physically removes this file from the directory here. I will show you. When I run this, now I think this file will not be existing here. You can see here there is not any file called as IT over here. That has been physically removed from this location. Okay. So what you know is now you know how to read a file, how to write a file, how to delete a file using PHP. Okay. How to access permissions, how to give the permissions, all these things. You have a complete thorough understanding of this. Okay. Now I come to the end of the session. So this actually gives me the directory name where the file exists here. So the directory name is called, so I have given a complete path over here, C:test web home.php and another case also. Now, whenever I give directory name, so what is the directory name? The folder which have the file is called as a directory name. So I will get the answer called as test web as an output here. These are simple commands. Okay. But when I give 2 over here, what happens? It goes to 2 root folder ahead of it. So the first folder is called as test web here. The second folder is called as C: itself. So the second output I will get C: here. In the first case, I will get only test web over here. Okay. And the third case also, I will get the answer called as test web. Okay. So this is about how to access the directory with the help of directory name over here. Okay. I hope you are able to understand, and the next one is called as how to close the file. So best practice is, even if you don't close the file, nothing is wrong. But the good practice is whenever you open a file, you have to close the file using fclose. Fclose is called as file close operation here. Okay. I hope so. You are able to just go through all these parameters here. Now, an important assignment for you is just make a note of it. You try it and just submit this as a screenshot, not in Google Classroom. Okay. So don't submit this in Google Classroom. I want a screenshot output here so that everyone, I want to ensure whether everyone is getting submitted this or not. Okay. So I have to write the file content in this order. Let us imagine the file name should be exam.txt. File name should be exam.txt. So I should write the name like this. Name, my name should be written, and then age, something like this, 27, or marks, it's 78, like this. Okay. So you write 2 names like this, XYZ, age 19, marks is equal to 82, 82 over here, 82 over here. And then after writing exam.txt, just read the file exam.txt. So read this file, read the same file, and print the output like this. So first I should get name, and then I should get age, and I should get marks here. And after this, once again, I should get this one, a decorated output. Decorated output, and again I should get a decorated output after this, and I should get a decorated output for this. Okay. So you should write the file, then you should read the file and print the output in the corresponding order using files in PHP. So this is the things which you have to input inside the file and read it appropriately. Okay, this is what the assignment which I have given to you. You take 2 or 3 days of time, and finally you can just post me. So last date for posting it is, you can just post me on Thursday. Okay. So before Thursday, you can do it. It's a very simple assignment. You create an exam.txt file using write mode, write it, then you just open the same file using read mode and print appropriately. Okay. Hope so you are able to understand. Are you able to understand? Any clarity in the assignment is required? Any clarity? Okay, ma. Okay. Mayappan, are you able to catch it up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, this is all I want to discuss today, and hope you are able to understand. So I have already said in the class that 4 to 5 people just form as a group, so that you can just directly involve in a PHP project. So this is not a mini project; it's going to be a project. You yourself form a group and just report to me in Google Classroom, or you can report to me in WhatsApp itself. So I will give 2 to 3 days of time. You just form yourself as a group, and you can try to do it. So before that, I will demonstrate one project, how to do a PHP project, live project. Okay, so that you can get a grip on how to do full stack web developer. You can do your full stack web developer activities with the help of this. Okay. So, any questions do you have? Any questions? So, no questions. We'll wind up the session. Thank you and Jai Hind. Bye.